Beneath the confident, often arrogant exterior of a narcissist lies a deep well of hidden fears that they spend their entire lives trying to conceal. Narcissists may appear as if they are completely in control, commanding attention and admiration with ease, but underneath their grandiosity is a fragile, insecure core that drives much of their behavior. These individuals live in a state of perpetual anxiety, haunted by fears they can never truly escape. While their bravado may convince others of their superiority, understanding the hidden fears that torment narcissists offers insight into their psyche and perhaps into the behaviors that make them so toxic to those around them. The first fear that grips every narcissist is the fear of exposure. Narcissists go to great lengths to project an image of perfection. They carefully curate their lives, presenting themselves as flawless, competent, and deserving of admiration. However, this image is nothing more than a facade. Beneath it, they are deeply insecure, terrified that others will eventually see them for who they really are. The fear of being exposed as inadequate or flawed haunts them constantly. It's why they are so defensive, so quick to deflect criticism, and so adept at shifting blame. If anyone were to uncover the truth about their insecurities, it would shatter the illusion they've worked so hard to create. And so they live in fear of being unmasked. Another fear that looms large in the mind of every narcissist is the fear of abandonment. Despite their seeming confidence and independence, narcissists are deeply afraid of being alone. They rely heavily on others for validation, and their entire sense of self-worth is contingent on the attention and admiration they see. Without an audience to applaud their every move, they feel insignificant, empty, even. This fear of abandonment drives them to manipulate and control the people in their lives. They create dependencies, making sure others need them so that they're never left behind. Yet, ironically, their behavior often leads to the very thing they fear most. People eventually grow tired of their toxicity and leave. Narcissists are also haunted by the fear of losing control. Control is everything to them. It's how they maintain their image, how they keep others in line, and how they protect themselves from their own insecurities. The idea of being at the mercy of someone else, or even of circumstances they can't manipulate, is terrifying. This fear manifests in their need to dominate conversations, relationships, and situations. They exert control over others through manipulation, gaslighting, and emotional abuse. But underneath their controlling behavior is the constant anxiety that something might slip through their fingers. The fear of losing control over their image, relationships, or environment is a constant source of stress for them, one that they can never truly escape. In addition to these fears, narcissists are profoundly afraid of rejection. To a narcissist, rejection is not just a minor setback. It is a catastrophic blow to their ego. They need constant validation to feel worthy, and rejection threatens to expose the fragility of their self-worth. Whether it's being passed over for a promotion, rejected in a romantic relationship, or even receiving criticism from a peer, narcissists take rejection deeply personally. It confirms their deepest fear that they are not as perfect or as admired as they want to believe. This fear often leads them to preemptively reject others or to lash out when they feel they are about to be dismissed or criticized. They'll do anything to avoid the sting of rejection, even if it means sabotaging relationships or careers in the process. The fifth fear that consumes narcissists is the fear of irrelevance. Narcissists thrive on attention and admiration. To them, being relevant means being important, being worthy of others' time and admiration. The fear of fading into the background, of no longer being the center of attention, is something they simply cannot bear. As a result, they constantly seek out ways to remain in the spotlight, whether through grandiose gestures, creating drama, or manipulating situations to put themselves at the center. They have an insatiable need to be seen and acknowledged, and the idea that they might one day be forgotten is one of their greatest nightmares. Narcissists are also driven by a fear of failure. Despite their outward confidence, they are terrified of being perceived as unsuccessful. Their self-worth is tied directly to their achievements, or at least to how others perceive their achievements. Failure, in any form, threatens the carefully crafted image of success they work so hard to maintain. Even minor failures are blown out of proportion in their minds because, for a narcissist, failure is not just a momentary setback, it is proof of their worst fear that they are not as great as they think they are. To avoid this, they will often lie, cheat, or manipulate the narrative to make sure that any potential failure is either hidden or reframed as someone else's fault. The final fear that haunts every narcissist is the fear of insignificance. At their core, narcissists are driven by the need to feel special, to believe that they are better than everyone else. The idea that they are ordinary, just like everyone else, is deeply unsettling to them. They cannot bear the thought of blending into the crowd or being just another face in the sea of humanity. To them, insignificance is akin to non-existence. This fear drives them to constantly seek validation and attention, to one-up others, and to exaggerate their achievements. They need to believe that they are exceptional, and they need others to believe it too. But no matter how much attention they receive, the fear of insignificance never goes away. It is a constant shadow lurking behind every compliment, every success, and every achievement. Narcissists may appear to have it all together, but beneath the surface they are plagued by a host of fears that they can never escape. Their arrogance, manipulative behavior, and toxic relationships are all attempts to cope with these fears, to protect themselves from the insecurities that haunt them. The fear of exposure, abandonment, loss of control, rejection, irrelevance, failure, and insignificance drives much of their behavior, shaping their interactions with others and the world around them. While they may appear powerful on the outside, their inner world is one of constant anxiety and fear. Ultimately, it is these very fears that lead to the downfall of many narcissists. The more they try to protect themselves from their insecurities, the more isolated and toxic they become. Their fear-driven behavior alienates others, leaving them without the validation and admiration they so desperately crave. And in the end, the fears they try to hide become the very things that define them. For all their bravado, narcissists are deeply insecure individuals, trapped in a prison of their own making, haunted by fears